Happy Thursday, folks. Brad coming at you here with a little, I guess it would be a little draft recap. Who I thought did the best, worst. Also, some other NFL news. The Dolphins today just released Bobby McCain. The year earlier than I thought. I thought he would be there this year. In 2019, they moved him to free safety. A little bit of growing pains. Last year, played really well. So, kind of surprised. But they also drafted a safety. I think they're looking at Malik Hooker, just in case he does want to stay healthy. But it was a year earlier than I thought. I'm not surprised, but a year earlier than I thought. So that's a shame because now Fitzpatrick, Van Noy, McCain, all captains last year, all gone. So you got to be careful with that, I think. But we'll see. The other big news is everybody thinks Aaron Rodgers is getting traded. I just don't see it, folks. The money and stuff. I mean, number one, who can take on any salary? Number two, if the Packers are going to trade him, the Packers are a good team now. They can't take on any salary because of the $31 million in dead cap Aaron Rodgers would have. Because they need players and picks. I would need. You know what I mean? I need a player that can help me and some picks if I'm trading Aaron Rodgers. So I just do not see it working out this year. So if I was the Packers, I'd be like, hey, you can either retire or play for me. Because if you retire, we're getting back $30 million from you. So more power to you. And so I just do not see Aaron Rodgers being moved this season. I think it would have to happen next offseason. I just don't see how the numbers. I mean, again, you can do a lot of. I don't see it. I think the Packers would rather have him retire than trade him this year. That's my thought. I think, and the funny thing is, I think the Packers look better if he just retires. Because then if they trade him away, and let's say he pulls a Brady and wins a Super Bowl, man, they look really bad, right? But this way, it's like, you'll never know. And Rodgers kind of looks more like the douchebag, you know? So, I don't know. I don't see Rodgers getting moved this season, though. The logistics of it, you're talking maybe one or two teams that could pull it off. And then, like I said, if you're the Packers, well, now you're starting like a mini rebuild. So, it's odd. So, I just don't see it happening this year. So on to the draft. We'll start with my team. We'll start with the good parts of the draft. We'll start with the winners. What I deem the winners. Obviously, you never know until about 3-4 years down the road. But it's fun to speculate, right? And I don't say this often over the last 20 years, but I think the Dolphins were a winner in this draft. So first off, by trading down, we'll just say trading down to number 6. They traded down to 12, moved back up to 6. Basically, we got the player we were targeting and got a first rounder in 2023. That is basically, at the end of the day, what happened. So we get Jalen Waddle. Good fit, exactly what we need. A guy who can separate. He's not a number one wide receiver, though. So taking a guy at number 6, this is the... Now, he's not really a number one wide receiver. And everyone says Tyreek Hill. But you know what makes Tyreek Hill? Andy Reid. I don't see Andy Reid walking through the Dolphins' door anytime soon. So there is some risk to this pick in terms of you used the 6th pick on a guy you know probably won't be more than the number 2 wide receiver in his career. But it is something you need. We need big plays. We need separators. So I'm all right with it. The next pick could be the home run pick of the draft or the one you look at 2 years from now and went, duh. But Jalen Phillips, by far the best edge person in this draft. I don't care what anybody says. I mean, to me, it wasn't even close. But he got in an accident, 3 years ago now? Got concussions, broke his wrist. And then I think he ended up with another concussion, so he had to sit out a year, and then he transferred to Miami. So he's had a couple concussions, but he didn't have any last year. I don't think he's had any for 2 years now. So, assuming that concussion problem doesn't pop up, this is a home run. I mean, you're talking a guy we might have took at 6 if he didn't have that concussion problem a couple years ago. So, I love that pick. Other pick, Javon Holland, which helped lead to the Bobby McCain release. He's basically Flores' wet dream of a guy who can play safety, nickel, do whatever you want with him. That's what he likes. He likes versatility. The guy's a ball hawk, former wide receiver. He had 9 picks in 2 years that he played. So it's a perfect fit for us. And then we finally did get a tackle, Liam Eichenberg from Notre Dame. The number one word everyone will use is solid. Didn't allow a sack the last 2 years. Not like a superior athlete, but good technique. I say you put him on the right side in your offensive line. You got Robert Hunt at guard, and now him in the right side. Should work out. And then we took Hunter Long, which surprised a lot of people. And it semi-did me, but not really when you think about it, is we have Gesicki who doesn't block, right? Then we have Durham Smythe, who's just a blocker, and all he does is catch 2-yard passes. So this guy can block and actually catch the ball down the field. So we have him, Shaheen, Smythe. We have a crowded tight end room, so one of those guys is going to be gone. And also, let's just say theoretically, Gesicki's contract's up at the end of the year. We may not want to pay him the money he might command. So that's why this Hunter Long pick is actually pretty smart. And then after the 3rd round, we didn't pick again until the 7th. So we had a lot of good draft capital, but it was all in the first 3 rounds. We didn't have any 4, 5, and 6 because we traded our 5th away for a 4th next year to the Steelers. So somehow Chris Grier just keeps adding better picks and doesn't even have to seem to try that hard. So that was a no-brainer. We drafted Larnell Coleman and Jared Dokes, the running back out of Cincinnati, who might actually play a little bit. So we'll see. Overall, they did good. And you know the world's about to end when this next team, the Cleveland Browns, is also on the win list. I mean, how often can you make videos and say Browns, Dolphins are on a draft win list? Had to be a long time. And the greatest part about this, all these guys just fell to them. They didn't have to give up a bunch of stuff for them. They just fell. So Newsome at cornerback. Perfect. Needed one. Linebacker. Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. Boom. What was the other thing you needed? Linebacker. Guy can cover, can hit. A little undersized to play linebacker all the time. But this league's a spread out league most of the time anyway. So he's a good fit. Supposedly he fell because of a heart issue that came up, even though he was eventually cleared. I guess that scared away teams. And then he chose the fastest guy in the league, basically, in the draft, and Anthony Schwartz is a wide receiver, because you can't use a little more speed on the outside. And then they took Tommy Togai, which I like. Good rotational defensive lineman. That defensive line should be stacked, theoretically, so we'll see. But, yeah, the Browns, they win. I like what the Vikings did, because they traded down 9 spots, got couple extra thirds, and still got the guy they wanted anyway, Christian Darrisaw. And then they pick up Wyatt Davis later, so they're fixing the offensive line. Then maybe they draft Kirk Cousins' replacement in Kellen Mond, who I'm not a huge fan of. The guy on the telecast hit it perfectly when he says, there are some days this guy looks like he could be a first-round pick. In other games, he looks like he should be an undrafted free agent. And it's the darn truth. So we'll see what the Vikings can do with that. They also picked up Chaz Surratt from North Carolina. I think he used to be a quarterback, I want to say. And they moved him to linebacker and actually played pretty well. So I think they did pretty good. Got the extra picks, got the guy they wanted anyway. The one I struggled with, because I liked who they drafted, but this team just keeps giving away draft picks. They just keep doing it. The only team that hates draft picks more than the Chicago Bears is the Rams. Okay? So the Bears, they get guys I really like. Justin Fields, who I thought was the second best quarterback. Okay, that's good. Then you pick up Tevin Jenkins in the second round. Perfect. He was like my favorite right tackle. The issue is you had to trade up for both of them, and you just keep giving away picks. And this team, this roster, does not have enough depth and stuff to keep giving away picks. Remember, they gave up 2 first-rounders for Khalil Mack. They traded up for Trubisky. They gave up a draft pick for Foles. They just keep giving away draft picks. And you can tell on the roster it's just starting to catch up with them. So they have very little depth on that roster now. And it's just because they keep trading away picks. So I like who they drafted. I like even the Virginia Tech running back, Khalil Herbert. Pair with Montgomery in case he gets hurt. And then you have Cohen coming back, who's more your passing, receiving guy. And then North Carolina, Daz Newsome. Just solid wide receiver. I think he's going to make it in this league. So overall, I like their picks. I like the Tonga guy they picked last too, the big fat guy. But they just keep giving away draft picks, which is why they're still in the winner. But with that caveat, stop trading away picks. You need them. Okay? Next up, unfortunately, the New York Jets. I'm not a huge Zach Wilson guy, but I do see the potential of why they drafted him. But then they got Elijah Vera-Tucker, solid, plug him in at left guard, be done with it. Elijah Moore and Michael Carter, explosive. What team needed explosion? The New York Jets. So overall, I'd have to say they were winners too coming out of this. We're probably feeling pretty good. A team, let's see, any other winners? Oh, the Lions. I haven't heard a ton talk about the Lions, but I like the Lions' philosophy. They said, we're going to build in the trenches. All right? This is why I had them taking Sewell in the first round, because I was like, there is no way when you get Dan Campbell and Chris Spielman in the same room together that they are drafting a wide receiver at number 7 in a draft. And that's exactly what happened was Penny Sewell, and then they get 2 defensive tackles who are just very good players. They will not be pushed around. All right? So basically, their offensive line and defensive line could use another pass rusher, but that Okora or whatever did good last year. But Levi Onwuzurike and Aleem McNeil, beast on the interior. And then they do get a corner as well, because they needed one of those to pair with Jeff Okudah. Ifeatu Melifonwu from Syracuse. And then they did pick up a wide receiver from USC who fell a little bit, Amon-Ra St. Brown, who I think will play in this league. So the Lions, I like their philosophy. So they're a winner to me. The Falcons. Now, I struggle with the Falcons because I like the guys they drafted, but I disagree with their philosophy in the sense of this team, they are banking that this team can still win a Super Bowl. I think they are misguided. I think they should have blown it up. I think they should have traded Julio. Yeah, see if you could deal Matt Ryan to someone and just eat the dead money for 2 years. See if you can get something for these guys, eat the dead money now, suck, and do a rebuild. But they think they're still good enough, and maybe they are. So maybe they'll make a nice deep playoff run and look like geniuses. But I like who they drafted, but I disagree with the philosophy. I think it was time to blow it up. But here we go. They got Kyle Pitts, wide receiver / tight end. They got Richie Grant, probably my third favorite safety. Great. Jalen Mayfield, listed as a tackle. He's going to play guard in the next level, though. They needed one of those. Perfect. So the first 3 are perfect. And then they got the Stanford center, who I like too, Drew Dahlman, who, if he doesn't start for him this year, will after this year for sure, I think. So I like what they did in the draft. I just disagree with the philosophy. So kind of opposite with the Lions. Let's see, anything else that stands out? The Ravens just always seem to luck out with players falling to them. Rashad Bateman falls right in their lap. Exactly what they needed. Now, they took Odafe Owe, a.k.a. Jason Owe, with their other pick, which the guy had 0 sacks. He's the workout warrior that has all the traits to be awesome, but the production isn't there. Now, if anyone can get it out of him, it's probably the Ravens, but I didn't love that. But the 2 wide receivers they also got Tylan Wallace from Oklahoma State later. Just good players always seem to fall to them. And then Ohio State's Shaun Wade, who 2 years ago would have been a first-round pick. But last year, he really fell off. I don't know what his problem was, but he really fell off. But if they get what he was a couple of years ago, that's going to be a steal. So the Ravens, they always seem to win. And then the other winner, I would say my last winner is the Chargers. And they got Rashawn Slater. All right, whether you want to play him at tackle, whether you want to play him at guard, you got a good player. Asante Samuel Jr. Great corner. Again, just fell to you in the second round. Tennessee Josh Palmer, wide receiver, picked a little high, but he also didn't have a quarterback that could throw to him. But with Herbert, I could see that working. And then the one I love the most was Chris Rumph, the defensive end from Duke. The guy can pass rush. Now, you can't put him out there all the time because he can't defend the run. He will get bowled over in the run game. But as a pure pass rusher, he can help them early. So I like the Chargers, what they did, because they hit home runs and just stayed where they were. That's the other key to this. You didn't have to give up a bunch of crap to get these players. So I think that's going to end the winners. Now, like I said, there wasn't a lot of bad drafts this year. I didn't look and be like, man, that was an awful draft very often. So if you aren't listed in the winners, it isn't because you necessarily had a bad draft. It just, I didn't want to go through 32 teams. So, all right, to the losers. Losers. Most of the NFC West are losers. The Rams. Well, who did I tell you? Them and the Bears just hate draft picks. And then the Rams take a wide receiver as one of the, or not the Rams, the Seahawks take a wide receiver as one of their picks. And it's like, and this guy might be a fine wide receiver, but it's like, that's not what you needed, and you don't have any draft picks. So the NFC West in general, even the Niners, because they traded away all the draft picks for Trey Lance, it's not like your future picks. I think the whole NFC West, I'm just going to deem as losers. All right? Cardinals, Rams, Seahawks, Niners. To me, all losers. Niners had the best draft of those 4. But I think that whole division, I would call them losers. Now, like I said, the 49ers has the potential to be the big winner later. But I think as of right now, I would say that whole division was losers. So my losers, the NFC West. The Texans, another easy one. Obviously, they just didn't have any draft picks either, so they're going to be a loser. So I'm not going to crush them because, well, they've already been crushed enough. Thank you for the Laramie Tunsil trade. So, to the one everyone likes to pick on, the Las Vegas Raiders. Now, what almost saved this for me from them not being in the loser category was their second-round pick, and it's the guy I really like and I think is a Pro Bowler in this league. So, I almost couldn't put him in the loser spot because I got one of my favorite players, but I did anyway. So Alex Leatherwood, he was a second-round pick. Everyone had him as that. They take him at number 17. And the problem with this team is they've done it each of the last 3 years, taking guys way too early than where they're supposed to go. So he might end up being just a solid player, but again, you don't need to take him there. Now, they did get a steal in Trevon Moehrig from TCU. Merrick, I think, is actually how it's pronounced, Trevon Merrick. And supposedly a back issue popped up, which is why he slipped. Well, the Raiders got lucky because they got a player there. He was one of my favorite players in the draft. But other than that, you look at all their other draft picks, not crazy about it. Malcolm Kuntz. Now, they got a great name in Divine Diablo, but I don't think he's that good of a player. So, the Raiders, you suck again. And now, another team I struggled whether or not to put them in the winners or losers bracket was the Dallas Cowboys. Because they went the Panthers route of last year where they're like, dude, we're just going to draft all defense. But I don't necessarily like who they drafted in most of the spots. I like the linebackers they drafted. Micah Parsons, Jabril Cox. I think you hit with those. But Kelvin Joseph out of Kentucky, very up and down. I think he's developmental for sure. UCLA's defensive tackle, meh. Iowa's edge defender, Golston, eh. Oregon State corner, eh. So while they drafted a bunch of players, because I think their idea is just like with the Panthers, is let's just draft a bunch of defensive players and hope 3 of them work out. That's basically what they're doing. So that's why I struggled. I probably shouldn't put them in the loser bracket, but I just didn't like most of their draft picks outside of the 2 linebackers. So there you go. I made it easy with the losers. Basically, the NFC West, I wasn't impressed. And then, of course, the Raiders do Raiders things. And then the Cowboys, they dressed one side of the ball. I just didn't like them. So there you go. There's some of my thoughts from the draft. What do you think? What was your favorite pick? What was your favorite pick or two? I'd like to hear that. Because some of them, you might not win. The team may not be like a winner in the draft, but they picked a great. Like the Raiders, I thought were losers, but they picked one of my favorite players. So it almost, yeah. What guy do you think, based on where he went, it's a crush mode job? Like he's just going to be a Pro Bowler. Let me hear it. I want to hear him. So that's all I got. I've wasted enough of your time. For the 20 people that'll watch this, I still love you, all of you, and I appreciate it. So until next time. Oh, because the next mail day, first time in all of 2020 products, I bought the Miami Dolphins. Needless to say, worked out really well. And no, it wasn't flawless. Couldn't afford that. But we'll see. It was a Chronicles break. Went very well. First time I bought the Dolphins all year. So that'll be the next video. So until next time, bye-bye.